Alright, we actually have two boxes like this. They feel almost empty, which makes me think, unless I ordered something that... Yeah, it feels like there's only one Blu-ray in here or something like that. That looks like a single Blu-ray. From the back, I'm pretty sure I know what it is, too. Here's another single Blu-ray. Then we got this from Right Stuff. Let's see. Okay. Just double checking to make sure it's not a hentai. And then we've got two more packages. I'll get those on camera. Let's see. I think for this one I will just start it like this. It's not separating as much as I thought it would. There we go. Single thing. Oh, there's one I don't have to watch. This one still feels like a single thing, but it's the heaviest of the lot. Oh! I'm trying to think when this arrived, because this one would have been a high priority watch. So let's let's begin going in reverse order. So we got One Piece Season 11 Voyage 6. I'll have to let my friend know that's what we're doing on this coming. I'm just trying to think what it'll do with our schedule, because we've already I'm not really expecting much on the inside. Not your standard One Piece Blu-ray DVD set. Next up, we have My Next Life as a Villainess. All Routes Lead to Doom. Which this is the Season 1 collection. And if y'all remember, I've watched Season 1 and Season 2 on Crunchyroll, which is pretty rare. I mean, as slow as I am to watch anime now, watching it off of Crunchyroll is even rarer. I mean, I got so many fucking DVDs and Blu-ray that should be no surprise, right? Now, if there was anything interesting about this, I see it's Region A. Focus, please. 12 episodes on 2 discs. It's got an English dub. Bad news, she's living in a video game. Even worse news, she's the villain. Now, it's not technically a video game, it's just that she realizes the world she's in is that expressed in a video game, but as long as you understand, she realizes she's the bad guy. She reincarnated as the bad guy of a video game, and all routes lead to doom. There you go, basic idea. We got Project A-Ko, Perfect Edition on a Blu-ray. Now this one was interesting because the release date for this one was different than the other end of... This isn't the end of the month. Well, the other batch of Disco Star Eastern Tech stuff. Like this one was offset a little bit for some reason. I do see an English dub there. Region A. Remastered from the original film negatives and presented for the first time in high definition. Features, there's a big blob of stuff right there. Okay, well I expected it to be different underneath the slipcover, but it wasn't. I guess that's where I have the option to make it something different. And here's the disc. Okay. Bam. And whatever I got before, I think came with a soundtrack. Well, next up we have Girly Air Force. I'm not sure what to think about it. It vaguely reminds me of an anime where the Earth is being invaded by aliens, but the aliens are too cute that they can't actually attack with real military people, so they have to have cute kind of little girls do it. See, this one's different underneath. Of course, that one, A-Ko was too, but it hadn't been flipped. Does this mean the girls are the airplanes? It's not science fiction, it's what we do every day. Well, Japanese with English subtitles, that's what I would expect. You know, usually Eastern Star Discotheque isn't about dubbing a lot of the stuff. If the dub happens to exist, then yeah. And last but not least, we got Urusei Yatsura Only You, which is a Blu-ray release of the first movie. And I do believe I have a Blu-ray release of the second movie, but that one's not surprising. It's not that the other movies are bad. But the second movie is kinda... it stands out above the rest, and man, I'm having trouble. I just need to get my hand on any plastic, break it, and then it'll start coming off. There we go. Well, let's see. Down here I see what looks like English audio. So there's a dub on here. That's right. I think I do remember that the movies, or at least some of the movies, have dubs, but I think I have trouble watching them because the series was subtitled only. Jesus, this is being a very difficult. It does not want to come out of the sleeve. It doesn't feel like it's because there's a sticker, because there's nothing here. There's a little bit of a dent there, but it's possible I just caused that right now. What the hell is this garbage? Oh, there we go. Finally. Same under the slipcover. That feels like a very Urusei Yatsura discard. And here we've got a movie poster, or something at least like it. There we go. Oh, jeez, and I have to go and edit last week's video. I keep forgetting. Y'all pointed out that one of the things on there wasn't actually hentai. It's only 16 plus. Oh well. Anyways, here's this week's anime DVD collection update. I'm a fucking idiot. I completely forgot that I also had Bean Bandit, Roadbuster Bean Bandit on Blu-ray. Arrived. Go Kickstarter. And this one was weird because it came directly from Japan. I'm trying to think if there's anything I can process about anything on here, but I don't know. So we got our main thing there, and it looks like we got the thing full of Kickstarter backers here. I don't want to try to open it so we can at least see all of it. All of the art. Now that said, since I don't know where on here my name would be, you know, it's probably somewhere on there. I think I missed a Kickstarter recently, but I do tend to pay enough to get my names on the credits somewhere. Alright, now for real, here's this week's anime DVD collection update. And before we officially talk about everything, this t-shirt also came with the Kickstarter. You know, the front's pretty plain, I guess. I think the back is where this one's at. You know, pretty cool back. But yeah, shirt came with a Kickstarter as well. Alright, to start with, I finished Akudama Drive. I thought it was pretty fun the whole way through. It did a good variety of stuff so that it kept things interesting as it went. I kind of commented how it seemed a little like over-the-top movie going as it went. It occurred to me afterwards to make sure to clarify that it's not like Redline. You know, Redlines is definitely cool for the sake of cool, whereas Akudama Drive isn't quite that, but it is, you know, it's doing stuff that's reminiscent of some of that stuff. But it doesn't just stay there. It was overall pretty fun. I'm not sure if the ending was super impactful, but I thought it was kind of nice. But then again, I also worry if maybe I wasn't paying complete attention to it. As in, like, you know, I might have been trying to do some silly Dead by Daylight killer stuff while I was watching it. And it's hard to tell how much I picked up and how much I didn't. Oh well. And then next up was maybe a surprise, but Higurashi Go, aka When They Cry. And it's hard to tell what to think about this, because watching this I kind of remember the previous series did wrap things up, and I don't remember exact details, but I remember some things here and there enough where watching this I'm kind of wondering a little bit of what's going on, like what's their goal here. And it's definitely really confusing because it starts playing the first story arc from the very first series all over again. And why they're doing that, I kind of think I have a general idea of, but not one where I can say for certain why I would specifically like this, other than it's kind of an excuse to revisit some of the Higurashi stuff. I do want to see later into it to see if they can explain why they maybe decided to do that. But I don't remember the details enough to tell you how much things deviate, at least with the first story arc. Second story arc, I'm not as sure, but I can say for certain that it doesn't strike me as creepy as I remember the first story arc being in the very first one. So I'm not sure how much of that is just me nostalgically remembering that, if there's maybe a subtly different way they portrayed things, because they've definitely done some stuff here, but also some of the things they're trying to do that's actually different, which isn't just a retelling of that stuff. And if you've seen When They Cry and you start getting the general idea from a season what's really going on, then this stuff should make sense. I just worry if it making sense to me is changing the way I'm feeling when I watch this. So I don't know. I guess I'll find out. For everything else, I'm trying to think if there's anything else specifically worth mentioning. You know, if you ever wonder what I fill my time with, it's always random stuff. There's other, you know, anime that I fire up, stuff I've seen before, like I'm not sure if you can see the YouTube recommendations here, but you can see that YouTube's like, oh, he does watch some Team 4-Star clips when we send them his way, and that reminded me of some Dragon Ball stuff, and I ended up, poking around some episodes of Dragon Ball Z, during the, Gohan Goes to High School stuff, and, it's, fun. It's very nice. Entertaining stuff. I think I fingered through a whole lot of that stuff until I, jumped very far. I also felt like going through some Konosuba. I think last week I also poked around Katanagatari. Maybe that was a couple weeks ago. But, sometimes when I don't rewatch a series, it's because I can fire up the DVD or Blu-ray on my computer without going to pick it up, and I just go through it and say, yeah, I remember this scene. I loved this scene. I really like this. I'll rewatch this episode. And that's probably eating into a lot of my whether or not I can get a whole lot of new stuff watched. Sometimes I mention this stuff, sometimes I don't. My Friday friend, we ended up not doing anything there. It was basically, we went on a trip up to see my parents, and a whole lot of that had to do with, my parents brought some cats in, but what happened was a family friend was supposed to be dealing with one of their friends who was no longer going to be able to take care of their pets. I think it's a hospitalization thing, or a nursing home thing. So they had 5 cats, and the friend took 2, and my parents took 1, but then he didn't have a plan for the other 2, and they found out that they could take it to a shelter who would probably just charge them to have them put down, and so they opted to let them be outdoor cats at our place, or not our place, our parents' place. And so my friend has done a lot of tinkering with trail cam stuff, so he's there so that they can find out if those cats are still out and about. They suspect they're not. They've left food out for them, but the food has stopped being touched. Hopefully this means that they, got found by somebody who's like, oh, stray, I'll take them in, and now they're living somewhere, as opposed to being eaten by a coyote, which I'm sure would not be a pleasant way to go, but yeah. I'm sorry. I'm actually kind of sad thinking of that, because I don't want that to have happened to them. I don't want them to have, gotten eaten. Oh well, and then the other thing that was really nice about that was my brother's actually getting married later this year, and I have to figure out how I'm going to travel there in order to go to his wedding. It's out of state, and I don't travel a whole lot. I've traveled to Seattle once for an online friend's wedding, and there's a lot of things I liked about that trip, but right now I don't really want to deal with it. It's not even the money, it's because airports are such a concentrated place. It feels like the political theater, and there's at even higher risk of being there, and I just don't want to deal with it. But it turns out that works out because my parents have the opposite problem. Because you see, for me, driving up there is a little worrisome because I'm afraid of whether or not I can actually stay awake for long enough periods of time to do that in the kind of time intervals that would maybe be considered quick or something like that. Basically I'm afraid I'll actually fall asleep on the road if I'm on the road for that amount of time, because I feel like I can barely stay awake that amount of time here at home. It's harsh. But if we put that aside, my parents actually have a different problem. They love to drive up to places, but they feel like all of their cars right now aren't up to the task. Which means I've got a car that could do it, and they're like, yeah, and they like to do the driving part of it. So they drive me up there. We're both doing each other huge favors, which is pretty cool. So, hopefully that'll continue to be the thing we're able to do, and yeah, I'll just I'm not even quite sure why I chose that as a piece of topic here. It's weird thing. Like, I guess I'm not quite sure what everybody here likes, other than, you know, me talking about the anime and shows I watched. Now that I think about it, I don't think I talked last week about having watched Spider-Man No Way Home. I would say that was a good to great movie. I would not fault anybody for thinking it was great to spectacular. I guess for me, the main issue is I really loved almost everything they did with it. I just left out of there feeling ever so slightly unsatisfied. And I think I understand some of why that is and some of why that had to be. And I don't hold that against it. And otherwise, I think the only potential issue with it is kind of had to be some of that unfulfillingness, because it's a movie that starts out kind of chaotically. Not bad. It's not even not good. You know, it starts out at least good, I would say. And it sets up its premise surprisingly well. I was wondering if it would be kind of stupid, but no. They have their fucking A game on there working on it. They should do that more often. Although I can understand why you can't always have your A game working on absolutely everything. That's why you have to have other people experimenting with stuff and doing stupid things like, oh, we have to make a movie with a message, or, oh, we have to tell the backstory twice in the same movie, even though the, you know, Thor Dark World. Which might have been an okay movie if it wasn't for that problem. Blah, 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 blah. I digress. But, you know, it still begins kind of chaotic and not doing what it's ultimately going to be doing throughout the entirety of the movie. It flows correctly. It just kind of feels like the previous Spider-Man Marvel Cinematic Universe movie ended in a way where this movie wanted to go, it couldn't quite go, so it kind of had to, you know, course change in order to make it work. But it did a really great job of that, and it does, I feel like it does so much justice to all the characters in there. I think I liked everything. Now, whether or not I'm looking forward to other movies, I can't really say for certain. I know, of the advertisements, was it The Batman? Or did that actually have a fuller title to it? I would call that a bad trailer, because I have no feeling for what kind of Batman movie I would be watching going in there. You know, it seems to me that it's like, oh, yeah, this is who the bad guy is going to be, but I don't know what that means, the interaction. In fact, for all I know, the interaction with that bad guy could be only in the first 15 minutes, and then the rest of the movie is a different bad guy altogether. The way it's played, it could be that. It's really hard to tell. And for some reason, they seem to be showing off a lot of scenes with Catwoman, and I kind of don't care. Not in and of itself. It's like, I would call it a bad trailer because I walked away from it saying, it felt like you showed me a lot of stuff about your movie, but I don't have a good feeling why I might want to watch your movie. On the other hand, that movie, Everyone, Everywhere, Everything, or something all at once, something like that. I'm not sure what to think of that one, but the way it presented its premise was amusingly enough that one actually interested me. Like the entire idea, it kind of reminded me a little bit of Jet Li, The One, where the premise of that one was that, I guess, a different universe version of Jet Li's character is going around killing his other universe selves, and the power is being split between all the living ones. So, eventually it's just the two of them, and he's the one because, you know, he's got the power of his multiverse stuff. And this one kind of feels similar, but since I don't know how well I watched that movie, I can't say if the feel would be the same, because this one kind of strikes me as she's just a simple, boring laundromat lady who's more worried about balancing her checkbooks and counting her receipts and stuff like that. And therein lies the what looks great about it, because it's promising to be an action movie, and it looks like it's based off of a premise that's supposed to be intentionally contradictory in a way where it knows it is, and that looks fun. I'm not saying that I definitely think it'll be good, but it definitely piqued my interest. Now, whether or not I'll go to see it is something else. I mean, even with No Way Home, I kind of waited a couple of weeks to go see it, and maybe I already talked to y'all about it. I don't remember talking to y'all about it, so yeah. If you've heard people saying it's good, chances are it's not that great if you've not watched a whole lot of superhero movies before, but it gets better if you've watched not only the Marvel Cinematic Universe stuff, because it actually builds on that stuff really well, but it also builds on the previous Spider-Man movies. And it's kind of weird because we have Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, and I know there's a second one coming out, and I haven't looked at the trailer for that yet, so I'm not quite sure what to think. Because for me, sequels are kind of hard to do, and I'm holding my breath on that actually being any good, so I'm just not watching it one way or the other, the trailer one way or the other, until YouTube recommends it again, and I'm like, oh yeah, I'll watch it this time. But, you know, it's kind of weird to have Spider-Verse characters in there, but somehow they make them fucking work. It's pretty incredible. And I don't know that they're necessarily something where the more you're into this stuff, the better it is. But I can say that if you're at least the surface level where I'm at, then a lot of this stuff is actually pretty great. I never even watched Amazing Spider-Man 1 and 2. I'm just mostly familiar with most of their problems. And I have to say, Jamie Foxx's Electro looks hell of a lot fucking better in this one. I mean, Jesus Christ, he looks great. They all look great. The two CGI guys could, of course, be done better, but I can understand why they were where they were. Yeah, it's good stuff. Oh well. I think that's my rambling. Dead by Daylight there's nothing I think particularly interesting going on there. There's a PTB going on right now. That's a player test beta, which basically means they're testing out for the next release. But I think the more interesting one will be the one after that, because the release after that will be the Dead by Daylight Ringu chapter. With any luck, it'll bring us something very interesting. But we're not there yet. So, y'all, have a nice week.